This is a hard. I thought like coming out, I was mentally ready for this day, like get it over, we're done, finish the garden. And now that I'm out here, I just am moved. It has been, what a fantastic garden year. What a year of growth and learning. I'm just gonna spend a few minutes in gratitude for all that this garden did, all that it taught me, all that I learned, and then we're gonna start pulling some stuff. Here's a little bit about what is still left in the garden that we need to harvest. It is basically the carrots, the Brussels sprouts, onions, a few cabbages, tomatoes and tomatillos, and all of the potatoes. That is it. Oh, there's some beets. If we manage to actually pull up any beets, that would be fantastic. So I try to do things in an orderly fashion. So I think I'm just gonna choose something, whether it's onions or carrots or whatever, and go around all the beds, fill up a 5-gallon bucket as best I can, and then move on to the next thing. That seems the most logical in my brain of how to harvest. The tomatoes and the tomatillos are the most frost sensitive of all of the vegetables that are left in the garden. And so I just began with the tomatoes and tomatillos. And here is a quick look back of how this garden began and where we ended up. I personally enjoy going back and forth between what we started out with and the hopes and dreams of what this garden would become and where it actually ended up and the lessons that we've learned along the way throughout this entire first true season of not just throwing some stuff in the ground, but having a plan and working that plan. And what I'm doing is getting it prepared for next year. I'm pulling all of the trash and the sticks and stems and all of that out of the garden, making sure that it's completely prepared. This is honestly quite heartbreaking. Let me show you something on the tomato plant here. Terrible view. Okay, so this one I already cut down because the stalks are so thick and green and beautiful. There's so much perfection in them, and it just is so unfortunate that the weather did not cooperate. These were tomato types that are meant to be grown outside here in Alaska, and it just never, I'm having to trim them down for compost because the stems are so thick and beautiful that they won't break down as quickly as I would like. So it is just absolutely unfortunate. We did so much right in this garden as far as these things are concerned, and we just never got the weather we needed for it, and that's just super, super sad. But to be chopping up something that is thick and healthy and beautiful because it's already started to harvest or frost, that's why all these leaves are dyed back. We did get a little bit of frost the other morning. I'm waking up to the lake is completely covered in the mornings with fog, so it's super foggy and it lays on real thick, and they're not in buckets, so I can't move them inside. There's just nothing I can do but cut them down. So it is a little bit heartbreaking because look at this tomato right here. Look at the amount of tomatoes that this produced, and if it just had like 4 more weeks or had some sun and some warm weather, those would have been so big and just absolutely fantastic. But that's okay. Next year we have a plan for, in the event it's another bad year, what are we gonna do? But I am leaving the tomato trellis area where it's at. After doing quite a bit of research, and I've gone back and forth 100 times on whether or not to plant the tomatoes in the same spot 2 years in a row. Some are going to tell you it's okay, some are going to tell you it's not. Just do whatever you feel is best for your land. For us, the trellis, the location, it worked really well, but I do need to do quite a bit of soil prep now and in the spring in order to plant in the same location. Okay, there was a bee, and so I left all of the marigolds, all of them on both ends. We are not going to concern ourselves with them. I can't breathe because this wheelbarrow is so heavy. But let me show you what I'm doing for next year. You can literally see roots. Can you see that? That is food for the microbes. So I've just gently raked it. And now I have this wheelbarrow that I have been saving all season of compost. And then if you see over here, I've already done a compost topping. So I raked it and I put some of this really sticky, nasty, icky, gross compost, raked it out because I want to cover over all those roots so that the microbes have some place to eat until they freeze and then wake up in the spring before we ever even plant anything and let those microbes get back to work. We invested a lot of money actually in, it's like a charcoal, I'll remember what it's called. But anyway, the Mayans did this. They would use it with, and they would inoculate it, and then there's a literal bug. Let me show you on the camera. Oh, dropped him. Never mind. So they would feed. Where did it play? They would inoculate it, and then the charcoal basically feeds your garden, and it lasts years and years and years in the garden. And so we did that way early. We did that everywhere. And so we've done more with microbes than any fertilizer or anything else. And so now we're going to top with, like I already said, the compost. And then I have a nasty rotting hay bale that has been over there by the chicken coop for over a year. And I'm gonna top it with the brown, just holding all of this down because we don't have any time to grow a cover crop. I'll show you a while ago when I did all the trimming, the cover crop in the walkways is growing. But where all of this is, we don't have time to plant a new cover crop. So where the cover crop is, we'll let it keep growing. I'm not gonna disturb the walkways. But right here, we're going to try to top this off because, again, next year, like I said, it's going to be tomatoes again. Therefore, I want to feed the soil now before winter and before spring and let it do all of its natural things. I'm not going to lie, it looks as beautiful right now as the day that I planted it out. But this compost has been sitting all summer in buckets with water. Can you see the gnats now? The bugs? Yep. The bugs are really enjoying the smell. Me, not so much. It smells like you would expect decomposting horse manure to smell. So it smells like food for microbes. I now have 2 spiders crawling on the camera and bugs everywhere. Girl, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, that's bad. It's food. It's food. It's food. Why, it's helping me. I'll be back.
Picking potatoes. Yep. Come along, folks. I already pulled some potato.
What is it? Look at that.
It's potato.
That is huge. How much do you have just in, how many square feet? You have almost half of that bucket and you've only dug where you're standing?
Yeah.
Holy cow. And we have this. The sun is, go this way a little. Look at that. Oh, that's the inside? Mm-hmm. That is beautiful.
That's my potatoes.
Nice.
I'm at 15 gallons.
So many might not get Cody's personality. She is so sarcastic and funny, and like the oddness of the recording is not like what she's like in real life. She just was being like very facetious. She totally cracks me up. But what was killing me when we were making this or doing the potatoes is every single time she would get like a start potato, she would like start gagging. It was like killing her to help pull the potatoes, but I'm so grateful that she came out. This was a huge job. I never expected it to be throughout the season. We just said, will they grow? These were last year's potatoes that had started to sprout, and I did absolutely nothing for the potatoes, and you are about to see what we harvested, and it is just amazing. All right, what else? We got 15 gallons of
I always
compost
think I can accomplish
dumped more than what I can.
Dumped here.
However,
And then 5
that
gallons
is
on each
30
one of those
gallons of brand new compost.
30 gallons.
Raked up the walkways. And then
potatoes,
just
and they are
when we're done.
beautiful.
Okay, here's
Look
my goal.
at-
Here's my goal. I still have to have walkways next year, so why destroy every walkway?
Pinks.
Walkways on both sides of the trellis. Perfect.
Seriously?
Needs to stay.
Okay,
Walkway
let's
along
see.
the fence.
We
needs
got rid
to
of
stay.
the whole wheelbarrow
But this whole
worth
center,
of compost.
potato
did
beds and all,
all
will get all
of this,
raked
which is
in,
huge.
flat.
This is 40
And
foot
all
long.
of this
And then
will be
we circle,
the
circle, circle.
garden, and I'll do
Got
my rows
all of the
differently
potatoes
next year.
done.
So
And then what
the
I do
walkways
is I go through
here
and I use the
will
pitchfork
end up
and I toss all the
raked
dirt. And what
to
happens
level
is
all
I
this out,
continue
get it ready
to
for
find.
winter.
Let's rock.
Holy cow!
But I continue to find.
Okay, well, we
potatoes.
accomplished a ton.
In fact,
I got 5 gallons.
look
Get
at
over here.
how many I have in my pocket. That one I pitchforked a little, so she's damaged. It's disgusting. My whole pocket is dirt.
There we have it. 5 overflowing gallons of tomatoes and tomatillos. This pepper plant, I think, could produce some peppers. And then a bunch of you told me, take the peppers that are in bags inside. They will produce this winter. So what are we going to do? We're going to take the pepper plants inside as well as all of the herbs off the porch. I have plenty of grow lights, so I don't know if they need grow lights or whatever. Can you leave that in the comment section? Those of you that told me to take them inside, I'm gonna do it. There's so many gnats. One just flew in my eye. I'm gonna do what you guys said. I'm gonna take those in. Now what? Now what? Okay, so where are we at? Just this left. Okay, and then I have plenty of rotten, nasty hay that once this is all raked down, we'll go over here, and then we'll keep this walkway as well, and along the fence over there. And then when all that's said and done, the fence actually comes down. It can't withstand our snow load. We learned that last winter. So we have to take all of it down. We know the measurement of the garden. Thus, we are leaving the T-post in this corner and in that corner. Everything else is coming down. And then we will know the measurements off of those 2 T-posts. But the rest of it, Aaron literally will push snow onto the top of the garden, and he will keep his plow up high so he won't be hitting the dirt. Anyway, lots and lots of words I just used right there. But isn't that fantastic? Look at, I can't believe this is the one compost pile alone. That is massive. Another one over there. Another one over there. She's growing. She is growing. Oh, look at this cabbage I just saw. Holy cow. Look at that. Look at that guy. My dirty hand. That is awesome. Okay, we'll get all those guys pulled tomorrow. So what am I going to do with my 5 gallons of unripened tomatoes? Glad you asked. I washed them. Aren't these so pretty though? They gorgeous. These are almost ripe, a few of them. So right now they're gonna dry. The tomatillos have to be kept separate. Look how alike they look. Like that would be easy to be like, oh, it's never ripening. Anyway, tomatillos we're gonna turn into green salsa. The tomatoes I'm gonna put in paper bags and let them ripen, but I've gotta let them dry completely first. I will then pop them straight into the freezer, and when everything is ripened, we will either freeze dry it, cook them down, but there just isn't enough to do like a big fantastic canning project. So what I'm thinking right now is like my Mexican rice and a bunch of stuff that I do. I use a tomato salt almost to season all those different things. So that is what this may end up becoming. Instead of buying that for the seasoning shelf, I may end up making it. Okay, so where did we end up? Cody and I pulled all of this, raked it back, and today is so glorious. It is just beautiful, the most spectacular of fall days. Like, look at the leaves. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. The chickens are busy. The lake, you can just, it's so open. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We are doing this because we've already had 2 frosts. Everything is dying. And although my heart is broken, we must pull all of it. So, oh, here's another reason. I brought this bucket out of the house where I had just rinsed all the tomatoes. Look, already a slug on it. Stinking slugs got into my garden here at the end. So we're all right, but there's not a lot left for the slugs to choose, except for the things that we want to be harvesting. So, all right, I've done a bunch of research. And we're just going to pull everything from the top, make big compost piles, but we're leaving all of the roots that we can. I keep harping on that, but that literally is so important. To feed the microbes is the most important thing. So we are going to leave what we can, weed what we can, and harvest what we can, and then everything else is going to go on to be life for the little guys. I wanted to show this for a couple of reasons. I watch a ton of gardening videos, and the realistic part is this was terribly exhausting. Almost as exhausting, if not more, than planting the garden in the first place and getting it totally prepared for the following year. I just work in each bed until my back can't take it anymore. I sit on this little pad and I just scoot around, but getting all of the weeds that we possibly can so we're not contending with them the next year, and then getting everything pulled and harvested, but trying to leave as much roots as I possibly can in the garden so that they're feeding the microbes. It was a lot more than I anticipated, and I think it's important to note that the end of the year garden is not just bringing the food in and how are we going to can it and process it and all of those things, but putting forth the effort and following through on all of the effort and work that we have done earlier in the season and finishing strong. Did you see in that clip all of the lake this morning was fog? And then I looked outside, and I have this cooler because I use it for the produce. You know what this is? Dun, 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 dun. Hello, Alaska. I was rinsing this cooler out, and then I had set myself up a workstation, so a little table and stuff, and I just rinse all of the vegetable stuff out of the garden out here, and I had thrown some water in here to rinse it, and then looked outside and I was like, it is literally ice. It is getting that cold. So we're obviously well below freezing here in Alaska. I'm gonna rinse this out because I'm gonna have to use it today to finish processing everything. If it feels like this video is dragging on, just know I have put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in the garden to make this video and to pull the final harvest. And I feel like it is dragging on because I have worked so hard. I have, is it 3 beds left? 3 beds left to pull the carrots and the onions and finish winter prep. So let me rinse, we'll finish. So what you see me doing in each one of the beds is I come along and I just nip any roots that I can just below the soil level, and I pull all of the weeds. The reason is, as glorious as clover is as like a ground cover and whatnot, I don't want to contend with it next year. So I just toss anything that, so see, like this is broccoli that we had trimmed. Well, I can't even cut other than, and I want to leave the roots or as much as them as I can. I just broke my clippers. Dang it. Dang it, dang it. All right. Well, it's all right.
have a knife. So, razor knife it is, I guess. So I come through, and anything like this is definitely a weed. I did not plant whatever this is. I'm gonna pull it up by the root, throw it out there, and then when I'm done with this bed, I'll rake up everything that's around it, especially the grass. Hopefully next year I can have this done before all of the leaves fall, because the leaves are just absolutely glorious as far as compost goes. So. Okay,
That is
final
it.
bed, final row.
Harvest.
Everything is harvested except for these carrots. And I forgot what I had planted here, and I started to pull them out.
I'm a
You'll
hopeless
not believe
romantic.
they're
There's
supposed to
some
be shaped
Brussels
like this.
sprouts in
Let
here.
me show you these little
I left them
pumpkins.
in every bed.
Look at them.
And my neighbor was over here and she goes, they're so pretty.
That is it. They're these
And they're
little
so tiny.
balls.
They're so tiny. They're not worth harvesting. As soon as I open it up, the chickens
so
are going to have their
cute.
heyday with it. That's
The world's
fine.
cutest
I'm going to
carrot
start them way earlier
harvest.
next year. But
Oh, I love
can you
it.
believe? Let's see if I can.
Hi. Can you believe what we did? Can you believe what we did in a year? Or a few months, whatever the case is. Oh, the sunflowers too. Someone told me to harvest their leaves or their petals. I'll get back to you on that. And make tea. But I can't do it. I can't just schwack them down because they're beautiful. And it's fall, and there's nothing more beautiful than a sunflower in the fall with some pumpkins, some beautiful things. So now I have to go over, process all of the carrots. So I have 3 5-gallon buckets of carrots, and some onions. Not a great onion harvest. I'm thinking I will probably just either freeze dry it or something and have just onion throughout the winter instead of doing all of the stuff that needs to be done in order. I don't know why I can't grow a big onion, but hey, they're double, triple the size of last year, so maybe we're figuring it out. Yeah, well, can you believe it though? Look at that.
Pardon the interruption. If you want to see kind of how we've gotten from the very beginning, including all of the preps for the garden, you can go to the channel. If you go to the heading that says playlist, you'll find gardening in Alaska, and it literally will show you last year's garden, this year's garden, the things I learned in school, the preparations, where we started, and where we ended up. So make sure you check out that playlist. So where we started this year from just this absolute blank ground to where we added all of the cardboard and the soil and the compost, and then we marked off the beds, we added fencing, we put some straw for the pathways, we planted all of our little baby plants that we had began, and the garden grew glorious all the way to now, the very end. So I also thought for the compost and stuff, I might go on these flat spots and use the leaf blower and blow myself up some big leaf piles and bring those in here as topping after I get the compost we saved for in here. I'm going to take all of the fence down. We still have a ton to do to get it ready, completely ready for winter. And then for the first snow, and like you saw beginning of today, it's already ice. So let me go rinse the vegetables. I think that's something I can accomplish today. I'm looking at the time. Love you. Hey, bingo or no? All right. Well, I'm gonna finish work, and then if we're not going. All right. If I wake up by 6, like I planned 2 weeks ago. All right, let me know. Love ya. So, it is already 3 something. Cody just got home from work and said she's taking a nap. So, let's just see if I can accomplish the carrots, and then the potatoes, I'm gonna get them out of the wheelbarrow and onto a blanket to dry. I don't have enough cardboard because I used it over there with the raspberry bushes. So anyway, always something around here. Let's go clean some carrots. Well, here we are at the little rinsing station I made for myself out here. I did all the celery out here and it worked fantastic, but my hands get really cold and they're size small. I don't think my little chubby hands are gonna fit in here. Anyway, all right, my hands got cold and wet the whole time, so I did get some gloves for me. And now I'm bummed because I broke my clipper, so I went inside and got a couple of knives. I was going to try and save a bunch of the carrot tops, do something with those. Guys, a harvest this size, as much as we try and we can do this and can do that, you have to draw the limit. Some things have to become compost and some become chicken food, but we just do the best that we can. So I have a food grade bucket over here that we're gonna put water in, and I'm just going to snip all of these carrots and rinse them and pop them in here, give them a good vinegar rinse so we're killing anything that might be, such as, oh, you know, can you see her? Am I the only one who can see her? What are you doing up there? Girl, get down, get. I was in the middle of a video. Okay, let's just start rinsing some carrots. Okay, on that note, we'll just call it good. Thank you, those of you that have stuck around all the way to the end, shown me your love and your support throughout this garden season. I truly, truly appreciate it. I understand that on a homestead, we have a lot that we share, everything from the animal husbandry, all the way to the garden, the way we cook and preserve, and then the life that we live, whether it's hunting and fishing and all of the different things. I hope you enjoy this journey with us. I know that's ever changing and different and it rolls with the season, but I hope that you choose to stick around. You can do that by hitting that subscribe button, ring the bell, you'll get notification. Thumbs up and comments help our channel to grow. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Be blessed.